In the summer of 2010, Wayne Dubofsky, a director at the New Jersey Education Association, the leading teachers union in the state, was caught on tape talking about voter fraud.
I remember when Brett Schundler was the mayor, running for his second term as mayor in Jersey City, and we did not endorse him first time or second. And we're at the Jersey City EA office, and that's the biggest local we have. There's 3,600 members. And I'm working, all our members, they're out, doing the GOTV, the get out the vote. And I get called to the front desk, and they tell me there's a gentleman with the voting machines here. I said, we're not a voting precinct. And the guy says, I don't care. I was told to deliver them here. I said, how many machines do you have? He says, I have 2 machines. I said, nobody's going to come and vote. And he winks at me and says, doesn't matter. Which meant the machines were already loaded, locked, and voted. Vote tallies were in. And nobody came through because we weren't a voting location. They came back later on and they took the machines. I called the clerk's office. They said, just leave well enough alone, and I knew that meant to be quiet. And that was a tough district for the Democratic candidate to win in, and he carried the district at that voting with those voting machines. And nobody came in and voted. That's Hudson County.
The election he was referring to was a 1997 mayoral race in Hudson County between Brett Schundler and Jamie Vasquez. This is a copy of the voting ballot. There were also races for councilperson at large and ward councilperson, all up for vote. The Education Association, or EA office that Mr. Dubofsky referred to,
and we're at the Jersey City EA office,
is currently located at 1600 Kennedy Boulevard in Jersey City. However, a telephone book from the time period indicates the old EA office was at 2300 Kennedy Boulevard. A survey map from the 90s indicates the same. This is the old EA building located at the corner of JFK Boulevard and Union in Jersey City. A deed registration confirms that the old address was transferred to the new address a couple years ago. The deed lists the grantee as being St. Mary's Diagnostic Center, but the building seems vacant or abandoned. A ward map from the time period indicates the 2300 Kennedy Boulevard address as being located inside of Ward B. Here is the district map of Ward B from that time period. The corner of Kennedy and Union is in District 14. A Jersey City Journal archive from May 12, 1997 lists all the voting districts and precincts in Jersey City. Under Ward B, the 2300 address is listed nowhere. Next to District 14, the voting precinct address is listed as 110 Boyd Avenue, a firehouse, not 2300 Kennedy Boulevard, the Education Association. This would all seem to corroborate that the Education Association office was not a voting location and machines should not have been brought there.
I said, we're not a voting precinct.
So were voting machines brought into that location? And where else could voting machines have been inappropriately brought in districts throughout Jersey City and Hudson County? Recall that Mr. Dubofsky had said the clerk's office told him to, quote, leave well enough alone. Robert Byrne was the city clerk at the time.
I called the clerk's office. They said, just leave well enough alone, and I knew that meant to be quiet.
In fact, Robert Byrne has been city clerk for 21 years. I asked him for comment.
I conducted that election as cleanly as a municipal clerk can conduct an election. And every move I made, every step I took was looked over like a microscope.
He said he did not have jurisdiction over the machines.
And I can tell you that, and I defend no one. I don't defend my office because I don't, A, have the care and custody of the machines. I'm not responsible for that. I don't move them to a polling place. I don't hire the people who work on election day.
When the superintendent of elections was reached, she had this to say.
Those were Shoop machines, too. We don't even have them anymore. That would have been a Shoop. That's an old mechanical. We haven't had them for 7 years or so. I can't do much more than that. This superintendent wasn't even here in 1997. If you could track down Betty Outlaw, perhaps she would be able to give you more information.
Betty Outlaw, a former Hudson County superintendent of elections. She ran for an at-large council seat on Lou Manzo's ticket in 2009. Lou Manzo is currently under indictment. I could not get in touch with Betty Outlaw for comment on this election. Robert Byrne explained to me that counters from the old mechanical voting machines might provide insight into what happened.
They're just these old analog machines, and there's a counter on it that counted the activity on that machine for its entire life, and that always kept running. The other is what we call the protective counter that always started at 0 on election day, and it measures the amount of activity in a given voting machine, and that should equal the amount of votes that are put, that the Board of Election Workers put on this statement of canvass, which is the tally report.
He also explained there was an intense scrutiny over the election.
There are still living and available probably about a half a dozen attorneys from either camp who are still alive. One's one of these judges on TV now, Judge Napolitano, and other attorneys who could tell you that this was probably the most scrutinized election in the history of the city of Jersey City, and no one could pull a stunt like this.
We tried reaching out to Mr. Dubofsky for comment. We were unable to do so in time for this report.
I would retire if anyone could prove that somebody did anything illegal in 1997. There was just too much attention, James, paid to this election.
And that was a tough district for the Democratic candidate to win in, and he carried the district at that voting, with those voting machines. And nobody came in and voted. That's the intent.
It would seem that Mr. Dubofsky and the New Jersey Education Association have some explaining to do. Reporting for the Project Veritas, I'm James O'Keefe.